Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to talk about how to evaluate different PPO plans to see if they might be a good fit for your office. So I've created this spreadsheet, I've used it over the years, where I can just take a look at the top about, let's just say 50, let's see, this is a bit more precise here, 53 different codes and different procedures that we do in our office. This isn't all the procedures that we do, but these are the top 50 that we do. Over here you can see the code that kind of matches up with the description, and then over a 12-month period of time, we can see how many of these procedures did we actually charge out or that were actually completed. And so you can see the periodic exams, for example, that's 9,000 or 9,190 to be precise. Limited is 877. And so you can just kind of see the quantity over a 12-month period of time for each one of these codes, okay? So now that we know about how many of the mix of the different procedures that we do, now we can take and apply that across the board to each one of these PPO plans to just kind of see how well they are or how well they might compare to what we're charging. So we have this kind of grayed out, the UCR and the membership plan and these different example PPOs just because it just makes the screen easier to see. But let's just see here for a moment. Let's imagine the UCR for the periodic examination is $75. Okay. If we take $75 and multiply it times 9190, we're going to get 689,250. Okay. Now, we're going to use this just as a mathematical comparison. Okay, let's just assume if every person or every code that we charged out for in that 12-month period, if they were all UCR, which they were not, but if they were, this is how much it would have resulted in. So let's scroll down here to the bottom. We multiply again the UCR fee times the quantity. This is what we get for the total amount. So we scroll all the way down to the bottom. We're going to get this number here. That's 7.6 million. Again, we did not collect $7.6 million. Do not think this, don't try to infer anything from this. This is just simply to establish a baseline because we're going to use all of the PPOs to compare to the UCR to see how close it is or how far away it is from the UCR. So here we have 7.6. Now down here I also had another number. I said, what happens if we exclude all the films because sometimes we may bill out a certain thing but then insurance downgrades something from an FMX to, whatever. So I said, let me just exclude the films just to kind of make that not a thing. And you'll see in a moment, it really didn't matter that much. Okay, so that's the UCR columns. Now what if we had like a membership plan for patients who don't have insurance? They can buy into a membership plan and let's say assume they get roughly 20% off. Again, what would it be underneath that? So we have our membership plan fees. And so you can see all those listed right here. Again, treat that the exact same way. Times $60 times the quantity, 9,190, you get 551,400. Okay. And again, apply the same math across all of these to get down here. So now let's scroll all the way down to the bottom. Let's see how far is our membership plan away from our UCR. So again, if all the procedures were charged out under the membership plan rate, this is what it would come to. 6.1 million. That's about 80%. So yeah, 20% off of our UCR. So now we can kind of see that looks right. That's about what our membership plan is. So now let's start looking at these different PPOs. Let me make myself smaller. There we go. PPO A, we'll call it. Okay, let's just say the codes and the fees for those match up like this. For a periodic, it's 38. For a limited, it's 61. For, all these different procedures that we do, we can just kind of see what the fee is for each one of those. And again, multiply it out, go down to the bottom, and now we can see this is 6.5. My goodness, PPO A is actually better than our membership plan. It pays better than our membership plan. Now let's go to PPO B. This one's at 42%. 42%, that means of our UCR. So 3.2 million divided by 7.6 million, or 7.6, you get 42. Okay, what about PPOC? You got 49%. Let me kind of scroll across here, just have a handful of them. You got 51%, 44%, 65%, 51%. Okay, so now when you start looking at these PPOs, you can determine if you're in some of these PPO plans, does it make sense to stay with them or not? If you're going to cut a PPO plan, it would make sense that you would probably cut the one that's paying the worst. So in this example right here, PPO B, whatever that one is, that's 42%. That's going to be the lowest paying one out of all of them. And then the next worst one is PPO E. Okay, and then you got C and so forth. So you can start ranking these to see which ones are the worst and which ones are the best. Now, There is no hard and fast rule. Well, what percentage number, is it that is the cutoff? There isn't. There isn't one. It's just being able to take a look at maybe if you're on current PPO plans, how good or how poor do they pay? And if you're looking at bringing on a PPO plan, very easy to plug these numbers in and seeing the fee schedules and how it matches up with the mix of procedures that you have in your office. How well will it pay compared to other plans? So you can make a more statistical decision on whether you want to move forward with something or not. Now, having said all of that, you can kind of rank these. Let's go down to some of these other considerations. Why not consider how many patients you currently have in each PPO? So if you decide to cut one, you have an idea of the impact on your busyness level. Let's just say, yeah, we would want to get rid of PPOB. That's fine. What if, though, PPOB patients make up roughly 15% of your patient base? If you cut this PPO, know that 15%, or maybe not all of them will leave, but a big chunk of them will probably leave. And so what kind of holes will that leave in your schedule? Point can be made, yeah, but is it really worth it to work when the fees are this low? Wouldn't it be better to just sit around and do nothing, or maybe have some of those spaces fill in with some of these other plans, or even non-insurance patients that may fill it in? That would have to be a decision you have to make on your own as far as how busy do you think you are. Look at your new patient count. Look at how many patients you have coming through hygiene. Just kind of consider the days and times that you're open, and how busy are you during those high demand times, which is usually in the morning, or from 3:30 on typically is where it gets really busy. Kids get out of school, people get off of work. Those are the busy times of the day. Anyway, so consider, how many patients you have. So if you do make a cut, you consider both the quality or the quality of the plan, but also the quantity of patients in that plan. Also, you want to, like I just said, weigh the amount of capacity versus demand. Capacity is your ability, or how much can you process in your office. How many rooms do you have? How far are you booked out in hygiene? How many doctors or how many hygienists do you have? These are all things that are going to play into your ability to meet a certain demand. Of course, you're always just trying to find that nice balance between the two. And of course, I'm well aware of the profit per procedure. And you'd rather charge a higher amount because you have a higher profit per procedure. But one thing to consider is profit per procedure, but also the daily production that's needed in order to meet your fixed and your variable costs. So you could be sitting around waiting for a big juicy procedure to come in that pays really well, but if you're not really busy that much, then you might have your fixed costs are just going to keep ticking by, and all that profit you think you're going to get from that more lucrative procedure because it pays at a higher rate might be sucked away by all of the inactivity going on in your office. So that's the other thing too. You have to kind of work out to see what's the right mix. But anyhow, I'm sharing with you guys this spreadsheet. It's very easy to assemble this on your own, to kind of put together how you want to start ranking your PPO plans. If you're considering getting into them or getting out of them, you can at least be more strategic from a mathematical standpoint on how to do that. So hopefully this has been helpful. Take care, you guys.